Hello, Cool family, like and subscribe to the channel to know everything about Barcelona. In this video, we will talk about a major signing for Barcelona, but first, we have other topics that are also very important for our beloved club. Let's move on to the first one, the Catalan derby between Espanyol and Barcelona. One of the names that has gained strength in the club's offices is that of Joan Garcia, the current goalkeeper of Espanyol, and the attention will be total during this clash. Barcelona's interest in Joan Garcia is not new, but it has intensified in recent weeks, especially given the uncertainty surrounding the future of the current starting goalkeeper. Doubts about the continuity of the Polish goalkeeper, who arrived to fill a significant void and has fulfilled his role brilliantly, have forced the club's sporting management to consider different scenarios. If the experienced goalkeeper ultimately decides not to extend his stay at Camp Nou and opts for retirement, which he has already mentioned several times, the club must act quickly and intelligently. In this context, Joan Garcia appears as one of the great opportunities in the market. His season has been excellent despite Espanyol's difficult period, and he has demonstrated reflexes, temperament, and maturity beyond his years. His ability to perform under pressure, his agility in one-on-one situations, and his silent leadership between the posts have not gone unnoticed. In an environment like that of Barcelona, where maximum concentration and regularity are demanded, these types of qualities are fundamental. Moreover, his profile perfectly matches the style sought by Hansi Flick. The German coach has clearly indicated since his arrival that he wants a vertical, fast team, but also solid in defense. For this, he needs a goalkeeper who not only stops shots but also understands the game, knows when to accelerate, when to slow down, when to come out, and when not to. Joan Garcia possesses these tools. He is not just a good goalkeeper but a modern and complete goalkeeper, with projection and room for improvement. His youth is not an obstacle but an advantage. Another factor that makes this possible signing a smart decision is the player's release clause. In the event of Espanyol's relegation, Joan's departure price would be halved, from €30 million to just 15, a very affordable sum for a club working to restructure its squad without repeating past mistakes. Although other clubs like Arsenal or Atletico have also shown interest, Barcelona starts with a key advantage. Joan wants to make a qualitative leap in his career. If this leap can be made in his region, with a top-level team and under the direction of a coach like Flick, the appeal is total. The goalkeeper position is delicate and strategic. It is not just about finding a temporary replacement but building the future. In this regard, Joan Garcia represents a very sensible bet. He is not an experienced player nor a vague promise but a reality that can settle in for many years if given the appropriate context. In a club that has experienced some instability between the posts in recent times, having a reliable and young figure again would be a blessing. The Cool supporters should observe this move with attention. We are facing a possible incorporation that could consolidate a strong defensive structure, something that Hansi Flick considers indispensable for his game model. Joan fits not only for his technical qualities but also for his mentality. He is a goalkeeper with character, hunger, and that competitive edge that pleases the Camp Nou so much. And although the derby will be a test of fire for him, there is no doubt that he will be observed in detail from the stands. Moreover, it is important to emphasize that this possible incorporation is part of a much more ambitious plan that the club is developing. Flick did not come to improvise. His idea is clear, his tactical proposal is underway, and he needs pieces that fit into this new gear. Joan could be one of those pieces. He would not only bring immediate performance but also continuity, projection, and stability to a club that seeks to regenerate from the base and build a new successful cycle. This type of operation is key. It is also important to understand that these decisions are not taken lightly. The technical team, the sporting management, and the coach himself have evaluated multiple options, but Joan Garcia stands out on his own merits. He is not a risky bet but a coherent investment with the club's moment and the project that is being built. If it materializes, it would be a celebrated incorporation not only for its level but also for what it represents, a step towards modernity, towards a young, competitive, and balanced squad. The Blaugrana fanbase, which has suffered so much in these years of ups and downs, is beginning to see signs of real change. The arrival of Flick has brought fresh air, bold decisions, and a sense of clear direction. Signings like that of Joan Garcia would be confirmation that the club is acting with intelligence, leaving behind emotional impulses to build from a sporting criterion. It is not just about winning matches but forming a team with an identity, commitment, and future. From this perspective, the arrival of Joan would be a reason for enthusiasm, as it symbolizes this new Barcelona that is beginning to forge with firm steps, a team where each incorporation is thought out, where balance is prioritized, and where they are once again betting on players who truly hunger for triumph. The Catalan derby thus acquires a double value. Not only is regional supremacy at stake on the field, but a key decision for the future of the Blaugrana goalkeeper position is also at play. Now, it's your turn. What do you think of this possible incorporation? Do you see the signing of Joan Garcia favorably to strengthen the team's goalkeeper position? Do you think he is the ideal profile to accompany this new project that Ansu Fati is beginning to build? Or would you prefer to seek a more experienced or international option? We want to know your opinion, because this club is also built from the feeling of the stands, from the voice of those who live it as a part of their life. The sporting management has already shown that it is working with criteria, and if Joan ultimately becomes a new Barcelona player, it will be the result of serious, professional, and future-oriented planning. A goalkeeper with talent, mentality, and roots, a bet that smells of success, a decision that can mark the beginning of a new era between the posts. The second piece of news concerns a very important decision for our club. The summer is shaping up to be eventful in Blaugrana terms with the arrival of Ansu Fati on Barcelona's bench. The club is going through a crucial phase of sports reorganization, seeking to regain competitiveness and prominence in Europe. And within this reconstruction, some names that, not so long ago, were symbols of hope, are now closer than ever to embarking on a new adventure. One of them, without a doubt, is Ansu Fati. The young winger who dazzled the world with his precocious talent could be living his last days as a Barcelona player. And the club that has taken the lead to secure his services is Sevilla, an institution with history, ambition, and the ideal environment to relaunch his career. From the Cule perspective, this possible move generates a mix of emotions. There is nostalgia, without a doubt, for what could have been, but there is also hope, understanding, and support, because sometimes, to be reborn, one must leave the nest. And if there is a place in Spain where Ansu can find his best version, that place seems to be Nervión. Sevilla has moved its pieces with conviction. According to what has been revealed in various media, the Andalusian club considers the recruitment of Ansu Fati as a priority in this summer market. And it is not just speculative interest, but a firm bet that includes real possibilities of a loan with an option to buy, or even a transfer if economic conditions allow it. The player, who comes from a period of physical ups and downs and a lack of continuity in his loan at Brighton, needs stability, minutes, and confidence, precisely what Sevilla seems ready to offer him. From the sports management of the Hispalense team, they value not only his youth, 22 years old, but also his ability to unbalance, his international experience, and his knowledge of the league. At Sanchez Pizjuan, they know that Ansu is not just any signing. He is a present investment with future prospects, a talent that, if it finds the right environment, can once again make a difference. And what is most interesting is that Sevilla has a long history of success in recovering players who needed to feel important again. They know how to do it, they have the experience, and they have a fan base that passionately supports those who give everything for the badge. This scenario contrasts with the situation Ansu is currently experiencing at Barcelona. Ansu Fati has arrived with clear ideas. His plan involves a compact, physical, disciplined, and vertical team, where the role of certain profiles is clearly defined. And for now, Ansu does not fit into this roadmap. It's not a question of talent, which he has in abundance, but of context, demands, and priorities. The German coach is looking for immediate guarantees, players who can respond without needing readaptation or mental reconstruction. And Ansu, after a series of injuries that have affected his continuity and confidence, needs the opposite: time, patience, and an environment with less pressure. In this sense, the possible operation with Sevilla represents a beneficial opportunity for all parties. The player would find a competitive club that, in addition to fighting in the league, usually has a presence in Europe, and where his protagonism would be practically assured. Barcelona would free up salary space and could revalue an asset that today has the label of intermittent promise. And Sevilla would obtain a young striker hungry for vindication, something that has historically worked well with the style and philosophy of the Andalusian club. Other clubs like Real Sociedad or Girona have shown a more lukewarm interest. Real is weighing its internal priorities before launching into a signing that would require an economic margin. Girona, for its part, remains attentive but without firm moves. In this panorama, Sevilla clearly sets the pace, and its determination reinforces the perception that we are not facing a simple loan without purpose, but a strategic move with concrete performance expectations. From the Kuhl perspective, how should we view this departure? The first answer, although difficult, must be from the sporting logic. Not all paths are linear, not all homegrown players can fully develop in the first team, and above all, not all young talents should stay if the environment does not allow them to evolve. Letting Ansu go, even temporarily, is not a failure, it is an act of maturity. It is understanding that sometimes, flying far away is the only way to return stronger. There are enough examples in the world of football. Players who left their formative clubs to find themselves, grow, and in some cases, return improved. Ansu still has a lot to give. He has not lost his technique, his dribbling, or his intuition in front of goal. What he needs is a place where he can feel like a protagonist, without the asphyxiating pressure that Camp Nou in full transition entails. And in this sense, Nervión can become his springboard. The operation, if it materializes, should be accompanied by intelligent formulas from Barcelona. An option to buy, a percentage on a future sale, or even a priority clause in case of future transaction, are mechanisms that must be present to protect the club's interests. Because although today he does not have a place in Flick's 11, it does not mean that his story with Barcelona is over. In fact, a triumphant return after a good season at Sevilla would be a powerful narrative for all Kuhls. And here is the emotional part, because it is not just about numbers, clauses, and strategies. We are talking about a player who made a whole generation of fans dream, who appeared when the team needed him most, who, at just 16 years old, became a symbol of hope. Seeing him leave can never be a bitter farewell, but a hopeful, mature, and even supportive farewell. Ansu deserves to find his place in football, and if that place is not now at Barcelona, at least let it be in a club that knows how to value his talent. It is up to us, the Kuhls, to now look at this operation with perspective. Not everything that goes out is a loss. Not everything that leaves is betrayal or disenchantment. Sometimes, letting go is also a way of taking care. And if Ansu finds in Sevilla what he could not consolidate here, it will be a reason for pride, because his story began with us and that will never change. That is why, today more than ever, it is time to come together, to give opinions, to debate, and also to support. What do you think, Kuhls? Do you think it is a good option for Ansu? Do you believe that Sevilla is the ideal destination for him to regain his level? Would you like the club to include buyback options or clauses for his return? Do you think Flick has made the right decision? These questions connect us not only with Ansu's case but with how we conceive the future of Barcelona. The third piece of news concerns a major masterstroke for Barcelona. Rafael Apimenta gives Barcelona the green light for Haaland to leave Manchester City, and his arrival at Barcelona could materialize this summer. The news that is shaking the foundations of the European transfer market has a name: Erling Haaland. And this time, it's not about vain speculations or unsupported leaks. It's real. Rafael Apimenta, the agent of the Norwegian striker, has taken the decisive step that the Kuhl fanbase has been dreaming of for a while. He has authorized Barcelona to initiate formal conversations for Haaland's transfer. Moreover, according to top-level information, the representative himself has already communicated to Manchester City the player's firm desire to leave the English club this summer, and the destination that the player considers a priority to continue his career is none other than Camp Nou. Erling Haaland has reached a point of professional maturity where his ambition goes beyond the limits of the Premier League. He has conquered England with goals, titles, and physical supremacy that few have been able to counter. However, the challenge that awaits him in Barcelona is no less significant: to bring the club back to the pinnacle of European and world football, to lead a reconstruction project with a hunger for glory, and to leave a mark in an institution that thrives on excellence and greatness. The Norwegian giant wants to be a legend, not just a passing star. And for that, nothing better than wearing the Blaugrana jersey. The key to the move is not only sporting but also structural. Barcelona's economic context, which has significantly improved after a process of purification and adjustment led by Joan Laporta and the club's economic team, allows them to look at the market with more ambition. And this is not a reckless or hasty move. The imminent departure of Robert Lewandowski will open a natural space in the attack, both in terms of play and salary structure. Additionally, the club is finalizing the departures of Andreas Christensen, Ferran Torres, and Ansu Fati, three footballers who, in addition to freeing up significant salary mass, can leave a very respectable sum in the coffers to reinvest in an impact transfer like that of the Norwegian. Joan Laporta, with his usual energetic and ambitious style, has already activated the necessary machinery to make this historic operation viable. Alongside him, Deco, the club sports director, is working tirelessly to establish solid bridges with the player's entourage and with Manchester City. Although Haaland's release clause is high, the player's willingness will be key to facilitating the path. And in this case, the willingness is more than clear. Haaland wants to come to Barcelona. He has expressed it directly and has already conveyed it to his current club. In summary, it is a transfer desired by all parties involved. Hansi Flick himself, recently arrived on the club's bench, has given his full approval to the move. For the German coach, Haaland not only fits into his playing scheme but represents exactly the type of striker he wants to lead his project. A powerful, vertical, voracious, deadly in the box, and with a personality that does not waver in big scenarios. Flick's Barcelona will be an ambitious team that presses high, attacks with intensity, and seeks the goal with determination. And who better to lead this offensive front than one of the best scorers on the planet? The mutual interest between Haaland and Barcelona is not recent. For some time, the player's entourage has shown sympathy for the club's style and identity. The Norwegian values the historical weight of Barcelona, its playing philosophy, and the possibility of becoming the new reference for a generation of Kuhls in need of renewed idols. If his transfer materializes, it would be the biggest statement of authority since the arrival of Neymar, or even Messi in his time. Because Haaland is a unique player, with physical and technical conditions that make him one of the most feared strikers in the world. The operation is still in an initial phase, but the signals are unequivocal. Meetings between Barcelona's sports management and Rafaela Pimenta have already begun to take shape. They are discussing figures, conditions, contract duration, variables, bonuses, and other financial formulas that allow the club to assume the cost of the transfer without compromising the stability of its accounts. In this sense, scenarios are being considered that include staggered payments, additional revenue from sponsors, and the intervention of new strategic partners who could collaborate economically to bring the Norwegian. Moreover, Haaland's arrival would mean an immediate media explosion in terms of marketing, international visibility, and revenue generation. His transfer would be a gold mine: shirt sales, global media interest, increased television audience, and the club's appeal for future stars would increase exponentially. It's not just a sporting investment, but an operation that would completely transform Barcelona's institutional landscape. We would be talking about the beginning of a new era. And that's because Haaland is not arriving at just any club. He is arriving at a club that, despite recent challenges, remains a sleeping giant, a club that, when it awakens, makes Europe tremble. A club that has rebuilt itself, learned from its mistakes, and is now preparing to lift trophies again with a style that has made it eternal. The Norwegian can be the symbol of this rebirth. He can be the man who restores faith, who makes the fans vibrate every match day, who turns Camp Nou into a nightmare for rival defenses. The fanbase, as could not be otherwise, has already started to dream. Social media is burning with montages of Haaland in Blaugrana, Kuhl forums are buzzing with the possibility, and the excitement is beginning to run through the streets of Barcelona. Because this transfer is not just any transfer. It's the kind of player for whom projects are built, for whom stadiums are filled, for whom children ask for jerseys at Christmas. But there is also a question that must open the debate. Is the Kuhl fanbase ready to have a striker like Haaland? And now I ask you, Kuhls, what do you think of this operation? Does the arrival of the most decisive scorer in the world excite you? Do you think his transfer can change the club's recent history? Is it worth parting with some pieces to make room for a player who guarantees goals, spectacle, and unbridled ambition? Are we facing the new symbol of Barca's future? The future is closer than it seems, and if everything goes its course, this summer we could witness one of the most anticipated presentations in the club's recent history. Haaland at Camp Nou, dressed in Blaugrana, raising his arms in front of a delivered fanbase and ready to begin an era of triumphs. Because when a predator like him decides to change his skin, he does so to conquer. And there is no better place to do it than in the temple of offensive football, the home of beautiful play, the pride of Catalonia. Leave us your opinion in the comments.